Hello, everybody. Welcome to an X-Pound special Hyrule Warriors review. Today, with me, I have Chriz, aka the Mole, Richter Hammer, Marcus Shadow, and
So
ChrisB. If you can hear him, he is having a bit of technical difficulties.
you can't hear him.
Um,
He's not online right now.
oh, okay.
He left to go to bed because he couldn't get Google Hangouts to work.
Okay.
And if you're listening, Crispy, I am now face palming like you said because she has said something dumb.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Alright. I don't know if he's gonna change his mind or whatever.
Changed his mind about being asleep.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Okay, so...
Yeah, he just couldn't. No, Crispy wanted to be in this review. It's worth mentioning to the people listening, but sadly he couldn't get Hangouts to work on his computer or on his phone, so he's having to sit this one out, unfortunately. But he was the first person here to purchase the game. I will say that for him. Props to Crispy.
Yep, and he
Yay,
does like the
Crispy!
game, from what I understand.
He does. So for Crispy, okay.
Alright, so do you want to do this in the traditional way of like, I think the 4 categories in which you do your game review?
It's up to you. Whatever format you want to go. You're leading
I
this
think
one.
I think that's the most organized. So I think the first one was graphics.
First one was
Presentation.
presentation.
Pretty much same thing, but yeah.
Presentation also includes how it was presented, like music and stuff too.
Music, voice, menus, colors.
Box art.
Yes. Don't do it.
That's cool.
Okay.
And they'd have nice box art. You have to say that scarf is, really appealing.
You got a scarf?
No, I didn't get this scarf. It's not only for you guys, but anyway, like I'm seeing the scarf that Link has.
Ah.
Because I think wasn't that like an exclusive for like Europe or something if you like chose that bonus?
Again, I didn't have a scarf.
Okay,
You're barking up the wrong tree here. I don't think anyone here has the scarf.
No, no, that was for the bundle, the Wii U Hyrule Warriors bundle. You get the scarf for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But presentation, I'll say when it comes to the presentation, I liked how this was presented to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the graphics on the big cutscenes when they did the big cutscenes. Awesome. Adventure mode with the little 8-bit stuff looked beautiful.
Yes.
My only problem presentation-wise was the pictures of stuff with people talking felt really lazy. I hate that in games. In modern games, when you just show a picture of something and then you talk over it, and that's what you've done for your entire cutscene, not just like a loading menu or a little tiny portion, it's like, I don't like that.
I felt like, who is that voice? I don't know. I didn't like her.
Who's that voice? It's Pikachu!
Troy
No.
Baker Mom.
But yeah, the graphics looked really pretty on this. They're bright and colorful, they're so pretty. Just really a lot of energy, good atmosphere. The area feels like populated, gives you like a whole like significance and importance of what you're doing. Oh, yeah, special moves look cool. Each one has a different one. We'll go into that in a bit. But yeah, they all look really awesome, and you look totally badass when doing stuff.
I like the presentation in this game. I thought the main characters looked right for the world that they came from. Even Link, who I didn't really like his outfit, I'm going to be honest. His knight outfit was kind of cool because he looked like, foot soldier minus them. Why is Link the only one without a helmet? What's up with that?
Because he's
obviously
Link,
he's the main
why.
character. He doesn't have a helmet.
Because he's Link, he doesn't need one.
Yeah, you didn't see that because I had gotten past that part. But the very first stage, Richter, when Zelda's up on the ramparts with Impa and they're talking about like the hero bus come for you and we're going to need a hero. Maybe there's someone within our ranks that is the hero, and they walk out on the ramparts of Hyrule Castle and they look down into the courtyard, and all the troops are like training and stuff. Link is the only one without a combat helmet. You can see he has bright blonde ass hair in the middle of this sea of metal. You're like, oh well, obviously he's the hero.
Yeah, so you can tell which one he is. But no,
It's like, really?
I will say, I will slightly disagree with one aspect.
What's that?
When you say the main heroes looked right, because technically she is a main hero, I fucking hate Lana.
Well, aside from her, I was talking about the
Good, okay.
design of the classic heroes.
Okay,
It's like,
the
Yeah.
actual heroes, cool. They looked all looked cool. Lana looked so much like she doesn't belong. It's like someone took a DeviantArt random generic anime picture that someone's made of this chick looks hot and just said, yeah, okay, that works.
you could tell she was created just for this game. But like with Zelda, I love her look in this game because you have almost the classic Zelda look, but with like battle armor. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, that works in this world. You know, you have Ganondorf, but he's got like a long mane of hair, and he looks like the dark general of this world. He looks awesome. Just, you know,
Zelda had like
Impa.
little battle shorts.
Impa
I thought
looks
that was
like
funny.
but yeah, Impa still looks like Impa. They kind of kept her classic look, which I approve of. You know, they armored everyone up. Sheik still looked like Sheik, but I love that they took him and they just nudged him a little bit into this world to make them kind of look like Dynasty Warriors versions of the characters, which I'm like, I approve of.
They
But
changed
Lana-
Sheik's looks. They actually changed Sheik's look a little bit just to make her look more Zelda-y. Because if you notice, like her ears stick out more. She's got the same ponytail as Zelda, and you know her hair's like longer and sticking out of her like mask, I guess, or whatever.
Fair.
So yeah, they made her more Zelda-y.
Yeah, I also like the looks of what the hell are their names? Fee and what's that water one I like?
Ruto.
Ruto, thank you.
Ruto.
I like her
Yeah,
look too.
They look like they do out of the games they came from. So
They do, but they also have all the special effects for their moves and stuff,
moves and stuff. Yeah.
all their effects and stuff just look wonderful.
Yeah, I will say all the characters, aside from Lana and Sia, well, Sia actually looks kind of cool, but all the other characters that are actual Legend of Zelda characters, they all look really good, and their attacks do look really good. I'll give them that. But yeah, Lana, you could just tell she's not a Legend of Zelda character at all. And the more I play as her, it's like I get the feeling they wanted her to be Saria and decided not to make her Saria, which I'm like, I don't know if that works.
This might just be me as an outside perspective, kind of, because like I said, I'm not a massive Legend of Zelda fan. I've played a load of the games. I'm just not a massive fan, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Lana's about the same as Impa. I don't like Impa. I don't like the look of her or her personality or anything to do with her. I'm like, Lana's okay. Lana's worse, but I'm like, it feels like she's almost this world's Impa because Impa doesn't feel like she belongs with Link and stuff.
Fair enough. I think Lana feels less like it because, and I guess it's again coming from someone who's a fan of Legend of Zelda, who's played pretty much all the games except for I think one or two of the mobile games, not mobile, portable games, handheld portable games, and of course I did not play the crappy CDI games because my God, those were crap. But like I said, to me it felt like she was supposed to be this world's version of Saria because they didn't want to bring Saria in because she's all about like the woods and stuff. She uses like the Kokiri spear for God's sake, and her special move is she basically summons a great Deku tree. I'm like, wow, you're totally Saria and not Saria, and Saria would have been totally better.
Yeah, she would have.
All right, I agree with I agree with Lana doesn't look like she belongs. I agree she looks like she doesn't belong the most. I was just saying, to me, Impa also looks like she doesn't belong with the others, if that makes sense. But that might just be me, because it's like, they all, to me, the Legend of Zelda people all look like they've come from like a fantasy story, like Lord of the Rings, or something like that, along that vein. She looks like she came from Final Fantasy.
Maybe it was a little bit of the redesign of Impa, but to me, Impa felt fine because, well, again, I'm a fan of Legend of Zelda, so I've played them all. So I'm used to seeing Impa like that with the rest of the Legend of Zelda people.
Yeah, but I know that's why I was just pointing out that to me she looks like she doesn't belong. So it's
That's
not
fair enough.
it's not a bad thing that Lana doesn't belong because clearly Legend of Zelda have people that look like they don't quite belong.
I understand that. Well,
Right.
Impa's the doesn't have like a normal like body or anything like that, or she's like a fraction of her not real form.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is she's the last of the Sheikah, so you really have nobody else of her race to compare her against. Whereas everybody else in the game, you have people of their race to compare them against. With maybe the only exception being Ganondorf, because the only people of his race you have to compare him against are women. But even then, at least it's still people of his race.
True, although you also don't have people of Lana's race, do you? Because I thought
No.
technically with her bringing them to her time and she's the only one there.
Right. Well, I was talking about the actual Legend of Zelda characters.
Yeah, but well, I don't know. What does Rick think about the aesthetics or the presentation?
I thought it looked pretty good. I definitely agree that Lana looks very strange. You can tell she's original. I think Impa looked fine. Honestly, I think that, or my feeling is that you think she looks more Final Fantasy-esque, probably because she has a ridiculously large weapon, where I don't think anyone else had anything near as crazy.
It might
Which
be
pissed me off.
It's also the style of her clothes with that tattoo-ish looking thing on her. And it's like, it looks to me more like a Final Fantasy character, but that's cool. I mean, some people may like her. Which, that is one thing I will say the game does get props on for me. There's a character for everyone.
Yes.
I just kind of wish that they had more voices in it. Like, what little I saw, it was mostly like that, it was just noises. I don't know if I missed the parts if they had voices, but it just seemed like it was like, maybe it's to fit with the whole Zelda style, but it just seemed like that, just kind of like grumbling. So you're like, oh, that's kind of how they sound, and I just have to pretend that they're saying that.
I think all the main characters, except for Link, have voices. So, like, Impa, I think, has a voice in this. Zelda has a voice.
Yeah.
Sheik. Of course, Link doesn't, because Zelda.
Link has a translator, which I thought was awesome, that he literally has a fairy. He goes, oh, you can't talk? Well, you know what? I'm going to talk for you and say everything that you should be saying. And he literally just stands by his side, proxy, and just says everything it's literally like a translator. It just came up and said, oh, you need one? Here you go.
I will say, I did hate the fact we kept getting a fairy say, hey, listen, in like all the menus and stuff. That just annoyed me. It grained on me. But I will say, to what Rick said about the voices, that was a slight nitpick of mine, and I know this is kind of what we just discussed, but yeah, what was up with Lana's voice? When you heard them talk, like with the text at the bottom of the screen, it'd be like, yay, yay, or something like that. When she did it, it was like, and that'd be like a whole sentence of her just moaning, and then moaning sexually, then moaning confused, then moaning sexually. It's like, what? Her moan sounded like they didn't belong. That's how bad this character was.
Yeah, because, like you said, they tried to make her more of an anime character, more like a JRPG character than a Legend of Zelda character. I mean, that was the vibe. I, literally got, a lunar vibe from her. I'm like, why is she in this game?
Yep. But
I did like the story.
Say.
Oh, that's okay. What were you going to say? Sorry.
I was going to ask Rick, because I was going to ask Rick, did he see Adventure Mode? And if so, what did he think about it?
No, I didn't see Adventure Mode.
Yeah, he'll probably see that this Friday when he comes over. Adventure Mode's awesome. But, I do like the story. I agree with what you and I had discussed earlier, Mul, it was clever how they brought the different worlds together and stuff.
Yep.
I kind of like that. I haven't beaten Legend Mode yet. I'm up to the point where you get to play as Link again. Link and then it's called the grand finale, so I don't know how many levels are left with that. But
I do have one slight nitpick with the story, as I was discussing with Richter the other day.
Okay.
Or it was either Richter or it was Pew Pew. It was one of the two. It was like after we did XGR. But I mentioned to him, how come minus Wind Waker, which wouldn't look like it belonged, thus they didn't have stages because you have to cell shade everything to make it look completely different. How come it's just basically the last 3 console Legend of Zelda games?
Yeah.
If you took out Wind Waker, why didn't we? If it's all of time and stuff, it doesn't seem like all of time. If you're just doing the most recent ones, where's the original Legend of Zelda stuff, or even since it's fairly recent? How about a Link Between Worlds? Give us some stuff from that since recent.
Yeah.
Do you want to know the real answer?
I would say that
that
cell shading and everything is no excuse. You know, saying, well, he wouldn't fit is no excuse because they made up Lana. Lana doesn't fit.
They did, but I'm just saying his world as well to go with him, his entire world and him wouldn't work. Where you go through Ocarina of Time, you go through Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, and they all look like they would gel together. Wind Waker's CG or cel-shaded world doesn't look like it belongs. But what is the real answer, Rick?
I would assume for Hyrule Warriors 2.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, like as much as I like the Warriors games, they do tend to. Sometimes you're like, why is this left out? Like in the early ones, and then a couple years later, you're like, oh, so they could make more of them.
Yeah,
they kind of need somewhere to go because they like to make things franchises, which is nice, you know. So if you like Hyrule Warriors, it's kind of cool that there's a good chance in like a couple years you'll get a second one that's even better. But
I do agree with doing that. Doing the leave. I understood some of because how many fucking Zelda games has it been? I understood it wasn't all going to be in there, but it could have easily been, in my opinion, like the first Legend of Zelda game, the 2D one, then like a middle one, and then like Skyward Sword, so it felt more complete. Instead of just the last 3, that felt a little like, wait, are you saying we're too dumb to remember anything before this?
Yes.
Is this WWE's 3-month rule logic?
There you go.
But I don't know. What does Marcus and Pew Pew think about the left-off worlds?
I could understand wanting them, but at the same time, yeah, what Richter says makes complete total sense.
I'll accept that.
As long as they're not gonna be like, see, DLC, Toon Link World. It's like, fuck you. But if
that would piss me off.
Yes, that would totally piss me off too. But if they're keeping it off because, as Richter said, they need somewhere to go for the inevitable sequels, okay, I can accept that.
Yeah, I was saying I understood not having them there for the inevitable sequel. I was just saying they could have just changed which 3, and you would still have many for the sequels. Like, it's weird that we have adventure mode, which is top down, and it's 2D and stuff, and yet there's no 2D levels there. So it's like, well, okay, that feels a little off to me. If you're just using that and going through Ocarina of Time and stuff, it's like, no, that doesn't really work.
Yeah.
I'd be like 30 years of WrestleMania mode, it being like a load of SummerSlam matches. It wouldn't work.
What I reckon they should have done with adventure mode, and I'd like to hear you guys' opinions on this. Have all new stages for them when you go in to do the fighting. Have it based off of the classic Legend of Zelda. Have it based off of where you're actually fighting. So let's say, for instance, the square that you're fighting in is, like, say, surrounded by rock walls and has like the big stones or whatever in the middle. You're literally fighting in like a giant desert surrounded by rock walls and there's rocks in the middle. Or if you're in like a forest, it's just you in a forest. So it's not like you're coming through, Ocarina of Time or whatever. It's literally this game's representation of the world. Of course, it'd be 3D all high res. It wouldn't be all 8-bit because that would look really weird. I think just have sparse environments, kind of like that kind of generic stuff to mimic classic Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, I could see that, and I will say I do predict we may get a DLC stage or story mission.
Oh yeah, we get with the DLC packs. From what I understand, we're gonna get like new weapon, new costumes, and like a new stage.
Yeah, I want to predict
each pack.
I wanted to predict what I think the stages may be.
Okay.
Based on which games they used, I'm guessing it's Majora's Mask, or whatever it's called, because they've gone with Ocarina of Time. That was after it. Then they had with Twilight Princess. They skipped Wind Waker for obvious reasons. Unfortunately, but I kind of want to play this Toon Link, but that's neither here nor there. Then they went to Skyward Sword. Majora's Mask fits within those timelines of what we got, so I'm predicting Majora's Mask DLC. But I don't know what everyone would think to
Possibly.
that as a prediction.
Well, don't they already have the moon? So that makes sense.
I'll tell you afterwards because I'm going to try to keep this as, I guess, spoiler-free. I don't know if we're trying to keep spoiler-free, but...
I'm going to say because it's a review, I'm okay with the spoilers for the purpose of the review.
Okay. Because I think this happened before Richter came over to play. I can't remember what level it was. Maybe you guys can tell me. But they literally use Majora's Moon as a weapon.
Yeah, we did that one with the dragon that's flying in the sky.
Was it the dragon where they like grab the moon and like drop it on him? I'm like, the shit.
Yeah, Midna's like, this isn't working. I need to try something else. Reaches up, just grabs the moon, just slams it, and you were just like, oh.
That's also a thing with the hook shot. If you use the hook shot and it's powered up, you also slam the moon on people.
Oh, really?
Yep. If you use the hook shot, it'll like you hook shot the moon and you do a backwards flip down, I think, and whoever was in front of you gets hit by the moon.
So basically, what you're saying, based on your location, Pew Pew, is if you use that attack, someone's literally caught between the moon and New York City.
Wait, what? I don't understand your reference. Is that like a movie or something?
Or something. But yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever hear that reference coming out of you in a video game review. Wow.
I'm sorry. It was a horrible pun, but yeah. No, should we move on to gameplay?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Unless anyone else had anything to add for the presentation.
Nope.
I mean, I don't know, do we want to go more into adventure mode, the presentation of adventure mode, or do you think we covered everything there?
I figured adventure mode would probably fall under extra, as it's not the main mode.
Yes and no, because the weapons are tied into that, so it's technically the main mode, because you basically have to complete that mode to unlock the full power of the Master Sword, so it could be considered part of the main mode.
It could,
Master Sword's already OP enough.
But when we have almost nothing for extras besides DLC.
Alright, we'll talk about that in extras then. That's fair enough.
Yeah. But, like I said, so on to gameplay.
Gameplay!
Oh, since we're kind of in gameplay, I guess this goes part with presentation too. I wanted to mention it in presentation, but am I the only one who noticed there's like no ranged character in this game? And
Good.
To me, that's kind of weird, because I remember when you were playing, what was the other Dynasty Warriors game you were playing? Well, Empires?
Empires 7, or 7 Empires.
Because I remember you said your main weapon was a fucking arm cannon.
It was.
I'm like, and I just realized the other day, wait, not a single character is a ranged character. What the fuck?
Every character is a ranged character, because you get the bow and you get the bombs, and you get power-ups to boost the bows, and they are effective.
You get the sub-weapon, but I'm talking like as a primary weapon. Like,
True.
Like Zelda doesn't get her light bow except it's like her special move, and I'm like, why don't they just have an out-and-out?
It's part of her combos with her unique ability thing.
Yeah.
Everybody gets AoE, that's good enough.
With the arm cannon, while you could slightly use it ranged, if I'm right, from what I remember, you still had to combo up close a lot of times anyway.
Yeah,
okay.
It had a little knife on it.
But I will say for gameplay, I reckon Rick should take this away, only because it's a Dynasty Warriors game. He's the Dynasty Warriors expert here.
There we go.
Okay, well, the gameplay is pretty close to actual Dynasty Warriors. They just added in the sub-weapons or items, whichever you want to call it, and it's really good. Plus, every character, at least the ones I played, some of them, I guess I should say, I can't say everyone I played, had like a unique ability. So like Zelda, she would get little like 3 little orbs of light. I don't know if you can get more or not, but
No.
but then like in your combo, if you hit the button more, she would pull out the bow of light and like put it into the combo, which was really cool. But it's got the standard dynasty like I'm gonna mess up the buttons. Y is because they're reversed. Sorry. Y button for the normal attacks, and X was your charge attack, or they probably call it
Strong
special
attack.
attack in that. Yeah, strong attack in that game.
Oh,
Which would yeah.
Speaking of, it might be worth noting, to go back to what we were just saying a second ago, I think possibly Zelda may count as a ranged character.
She has her like bow.
Only because you can combo with her, but she gets the Wind Waker.
Oh, that's true. Which to me, okay, as a Zelda guy, that was kind of weird. Because she never uses the Wind Waker. Link is the one that uses the Wind Waker. That's why he's called the Waker of the Winds.
He can loan it.
Ah, no. Toon Link used it. And I'm pretty sure eventually he would have given it to her. I mean, come on.
He would have taught her, you know.
It's Zelda. He spent how many years trying to get in her pants? He's pretty much like, here you go. Take my Wind Waker. When she puts it in her mouth, what do I do? Okay, just wrap your lips around this. Yeah, that's practice. Go on.
But no, I know, it just felt really weird to me because the gods didn't give her the songs and the powers. They gave the songs and powers to Link. They trusted him with the melodies to use the Wind Waker. And it's like, in this game, all of a sudden, Zelda's the one using it? What?
It's an alternate timeline, therefore she's the one in this time. They gave it to her basically because Link has enough weapons. Come on, he has like 8-bit sword, Master Sword, and shit. It's like, yeah, let's give her something else.
Well, I agree with giving her something else, and that is cool. It's kind of weird that she's the one using it.
And it tied into out of the characters, it ties into her more because isn't her other weapon a harp, or was that when she's Sheik?
Sheik.
Yeah, as I said, when she's Sheik, she uses the harp. But as Zelda, she uses the Wind Waker, both musical instruments. But back to
Richter. Honestly, I think it would have made more sense to make her other weapon the Ocarina of Time. But maybe that's just me.
How would that would work?
I think they added the Wind Waker as a weapon just because they couldn't add the Wind Waker worlds and stuff. So it's like, there you go, there's something from Wind Waker.
They also added, I think Lana used the Deku Leaf from Wind Waker.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, back to what you were saying, Mick, about the gameplay.
Okay. But the one thing I thought was cool was instead of putting in more characters, as you guys touched upon, is that they had different weapons. And not just like, it's like Link's sword and it's like, oh, Link's golden sword or something like that. It was that they actually had separate weapons which gave them different combos and attacks, and I thought that was a really cool way to make the characters more unique, even versus like Dynasty Warriors games and stuff. I thought that was cool.
I thought it was pretty cool. Although I will say, for people listening to this review, I still reckon just to say this now, you should probably avoid getting this game and wait for Hyrule Warriors Empires. It's gonna come. I would still buy that. I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Although I would like to say I was disappointed that Link had so many weapons and some characters only had one. I'm like, come on, every character should have at least 2. Especially, and this pissed me the hell off, especially Ganondorf. Because all he has are the twin swords. No, give me a friggin' Claymore as a secondary weapon. Come on. Because Ganondorf never uses twin swords. He only ever uses a single sword. Ganon uses twin weapons sometimes. Sometimes he uses a pike, a spear. But
yeah, I remember the trident.
You already have Chick who shouldn't exist using the spear, so you can't really give that to Ganon. But it's like, oh no, I want Ganon with a Claymore.
But I gave you my theory on that.
I know.
Yeah, I was just going to say it for the purpose of the review because I'm not sure what Rick thinks. I gave Marcus my opinion on that the other day, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is the reason he only used a single sword originally when he was against Link is because he was against Link. That's one person. In Hyrule Warriors, he can be attacked from all sides at once. He's doubled up on his weapon, so he's surrounded. It's like Star Wars. Darth Maul uses one blade against Qui-Gon, but when he's against Obi and Qui-Gon, boom, dual blades.
But that's saying compared to Link, he sucks as a fighter because Link only ever needs one sword. Ganondorf's biggest strength is that if he gets surrounded, he shouldn't need more than one sword because his magic will obliterate anything and everything around him in one shot.
Yeah, but to be fair with that, Link's main sword that he gets, his most powerful sword, is the Master Sword, which is kind of a god-modded sword. I mean, not
It's
within this
OP.
game, within the universe. Well, it's a little OP in this, but it's like, surely that... I mean, come on, he's going to defend himself, because he could be against two Links at once in two-player mode. He could be against two Links at once. He's not going to be able to fight two Links at once with one sword, when he always got defeated by one Link.
Yeah, but even if the Master Sword is OP in power, it's still just one sword. Link can only swing it one direction. If he gets swarmed, he's still going to get hit on the other side because he only has one sword.
Also, I like my theory in this that he just wants the badassery of Ganon, so he has two swords, but he wants the aesthetical appeal of having a human body.
Yeah, that works as well. I said he had it just because I thought, well, he's going to be attacked by two heroes.
Mhm.
He was going to want his grounds covered,
Right.
especially
And,
considering in two-player mode you can
Mhm.
actually both be Link, both with the Master Sword, so which would technically make it a Master Sword at that point if you both had it. But you could both be Link with the Master Sword. Or the computer could be Link with the Master Sword as one of you's Link. It's like, what? And then two Links with Master Swords against Ganon. Okay, well, against Ganondorf, he's going to have two weapons.
What if he fights two Ganondorfs?
The universe implodes.
Yeah, it's not like I don't like Ganondorf with the dual swords. I think it looks cool. I'm just a little pissed off that they didn't give me the option to have Ganondorf with one sword if I wanted, quote, pure Ganondorf, unquote. It's like, if you're making this for the fans, give them the option to give them the proper character. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. Or I would say if you want the proper characters, that means you want a Link that can only fight one enemy at a time.
No, because Link has a spin attack.
Yeah, but how much in Legend of Zelda games, how much does he actually struggle with the enemies compared to whipping apart 1,000 enemies within just like a couple of seconds?
This is true.
But I can understand maybe wanting like one big giant sword or something for him. It could be cool. I was just saying I could understand their logic in a story sense, but I can also understand why you would be annoyed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't have the dual swords. It makes total sense in terms of story. And okay, fair enough, this is a different version of Ganondorf. Give me the option to have actual Ganondorf. Give me the option to use a single weapon, especially if you're going to give me the costumes. Come on.
Yeah. I can see that.
Because I'm sorry, if I'm walking out as Ocarina of Time Ganondorf, it looks kind of weird when he's dual-wielding giant-ass swords.
Yeah, but while we're talking about the gameplay, I will say I also like the fact the big monsters, you had to defeat them in different ways. Like, oh, this one's sucking, quick, dropping the bomb, then we're done. I also love those, what do you call it, the weak spot wheels when it goes round, where it's like, once it waves off completely, like Sheik does an awesome, like, then turns around as they fall behind her with damage. I'm like, that's kind of awesome. It's so Japanese, it's wonderful.
Monster Hunter for the win.
Ooh.
See, with that, I was just thinking Power Rangers, the dramatic turnaround.
I was talking about with like weaknesses and their giant monsters and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Felt totally Monster Hunters to me.
It is. I do like the fact that, like, the monster, they swallow a bomb at Daysum and you go, yeah, and you take the crap out of them. I like that.
The monsters are okay, but
That's the
sometimes if you're in adventure mode, they can get like a little repetitive and ridiculous. Like it says defeat the enemies, which it fills with bosses that you have to like just avoid and kill the regular enemies. Sometimes it'll spawn the same boss 4 times in a row and not use different bosses. Like I had 4 Gomas chasing me, so I got 2 of the Gomas to attack each other. So it was a Goma fight, and they killed each other, and so at least I only had 2 Gomas to worry about.
Goma, isn't that the song the fat kid danced to on YouTube?
Numa.
That was the joke.
To be fair, they only had like 3 giant monsters to choose from.
Yeah, but like Goma versus Goma versus Goma versus Goma. Really? Really?
I really
They
wish
should-
instead of a Goma, it was a like, just so she'd have to say that so many times that it would just melt something.
Oh my god.
There's a
They
like,
should
and a
have
like,
had.
and a
They should have had more like boss monsters. I can kind of understand why, because again, Hyrule Warriors 2. The one like giant monster boss that I want to see in this series, though, just because if with the redesign, if they redesigned him for this series, he'd look completely badass. I want to see Gleeok.
I was gonna say Tingle. Yeah.
Hell no, no. Not
Yeah,
unless I
all the
kill him,
tingles.
no.
Only if it's a spirit track level.
Oh. Like
If
one
he,
little
if, you know what? I will accept that. Okay, if I'll accept that, and because that'll be fucking hilarious to see how stupid it is when people get hit by a fucking train.
I'm
Tingle got
sorry.
ran over by a freight train.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, in this, based on this game, I actually kind of wouldn't mind the spirit tracks level, just because imagine the Dynasty Warriors combat across rooftops of trains like an old western, but with shitloads of enemies. That would be so badass.
There's only one train.
Yes, but it would be based upon the level. There's only one Master Sword, but multiple people can have them.
I just want someone's special attack where they run them over with the train. I think that would be a good way to put it in. I
And
would
if Zelda
accept
if Zelda gets run over, she has to be tied down first.
that. As long as they don't take the Ganon train from that and put it in, because that was stupid.
Yeah.
Out of all the things in the game, that was probably the dumbest.
I will say, gameplay-wise, I do like how they did split screen on this. I know some.
Yes.
I'm not sure if everyone liked that, but I like that. Of one's on the gamepad, one's on the Pro
Yeah.
controller. I love
It
that.
made sense.
Also, that should be under gameplay because that's kind of cool. You can actually use the Pro controller if you're the first player. Yeah, you're stuck with only one Pro and one gamepad, but it is worth pointing out if you got the Pro controller, you can set it as Pro and you can just play the whole game in Pro controller and it feels wonderful.
Yep, that's what I've been doing. By the way, Richter, I do have a Pro Controller now.
I heard.
But yeah, I wish you had the option to play like actual real split screen with two Pro Controllers.
That would be nice. Considering it's in like all the other ones, I guess they have no faith in the Wii U could handle it. But,
I mean, the Wii U pad is cool, but it's kind of small.
I would actually say the Wii U should be able to handle it.
It should be able
Because
to.
it's doing
That's
two
what
screens.
confuses me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think that may be a edict or whatever you want to say, or past like a notice from Nintendo themselves, because so many companies
could
on
be,
the
yeah.
Wii U, like even Call of Duty, when they've done split screen, it's been done with the separate things. Like one uses the gamepad, one uses the TV, as if to say, look, we've got a better split screen than other companies. Because I don't know about anyone else, but I'll be honest, I love split screen. I love local multiplayer, as people know, but I love the gamepad and TV style of split screen because you've got the benefit of split screen without the screen peaking. So you got the best of online with the best of local multiplayer. I love that.
Mm-hmm. The only reason I say that not having the full split screen option is kind of bad is because it's coming from a standpoint of both Richter and I wear glasses. So you're taking two guys who can't see very well and giving one of them a tiny ass screen. Yeah, that's not going to end up well.
So your solution is to take two people that can't see very well and to half their view on one screen.
To be fair, that one halved view is still larger than the tiny ass screen on the pad.
I would say the tiny ass pad though, because I know my brother wears glasses and he did that. It is beneficial because he can hold it up to his face as he plays.
This is
Well,
true.
one thing they need to do in all the Dynasty Warriors games, when you do split screen, is have one shared map. Like it was in there's another style or a similar style of game called Sengoku Basara, where they did that, and it's so much better to have one map. Because one thing I don't like in the Dynasty Warriors games is that they just copy the map for both players, and it's like that takes up a huge chunk of my viewable area. when one map will do it. You just, and then you don't get confused. So you don't look at your map and be like, "Oh, you're the green arrow." Like, no, I'm the yellow arrow. Well, on my half, you're the green arrow. Just just make it a standard color.
Yeah, that is the one nice thing to having two separate screens like that is you each get a map and it doesn't take up. Well, for the pad, it takes up a huge chunk of the screen because of the size of the pad, but they kind of shrink the map, which is the other reason why I don't like it, because I'm sitting here trying to look at the map and I can barely see it because it's in that tiny-ass corner. I'm just like, okay, where am I?
See, I was thinking if you held it close to your face, you'd be able to do it, but it's cool either way. I will say, though, with the pulling, with the pad thing and all that, another thing which I think is kind of missing in terms of this is who here, and I'm looking directly at Richter when I say this, even though I think Marcus too, but who here has played Monster Hunter on Wii U?
Me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How awesome is it on Monster Hunter on Wii U? Because I know I am saying Richter because I think Richter's done this more than Marcus will have. When you can play it with the Pro Controller, have the gamepad next to you and set that to map. So you can just look down, there's your map, boom, look up and play the game. How awesome would that be for single player on this?
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I will say, for anybody listening out there, if you plan to get this game, make sure you have a Pro Controller. You will thank me later. Because, trying to play this game for several hours with that pad, the pad's kind of heavy. And after I played it several hours and I put the pad down, my wrist almost felt like they were going to break. It was painful because it was heavy.
And
now that I have the Pro Controller, it's like, that's light. What's that?
And I said, and he's about speaking as someone with Marcus who has a lot of experience in exercising his wrist, if you know what I mean.
Indeed. But no, after that,
I ejaculated, but the
No, but after the night where I played the game with Richter, and he went home and I played some more, and then I put it down. God, my hands hurt. I was like, wow, this thing's actually heavy. Wasn't expecting it to be that heavy. I was like, okay, I need to get a Pro Controller.
And
get a Pro Controller.
They are. I like the Pro Controllers, but I will say I also didn't have a problem playing for hours on end with the gamepad. Because that's how I played at first. Because I was like, I thought Pro Controller, and this may be a silly naivety of me because I couldn't be for lack of a better term, I couldn't be arsed looking at the menu. When I played on it, I honestly thought the Pro Pad would only be for multiplayer, and I was like, okay. And then when I eventually saw that, you could swap it over, which is how when I was playing like Legendary mode with ChrisB, and I was like, you go to options, and I swapped it over. So, like if I was playing as Impa or Lana or anything like that, when it forced me to be the character I don't like, I swapped it over and let him play as them.
There you go.
I got that too. I assume that's why I was Midna. Ooh.
I hate Midna.
I also am assuming that you got the tiny screen and Jeff got the TV.
No, actually, it was the other way. Because I had the Pro Controller. And he's like, I don't want to touch your Pro Controller. That's been your children. Ew.
Which I will say, I love the fact you can do that with just swapping the controls, which benefits people, because if you like the Pro Controller, boom, you've got it. If you like the gamepad, boom, you've got it. If you like the GameCube control pad, sorry, you're in the past. Get over and get a Pro Pad.
Pretty much.
I wish I could just somehow attach that to like anything I wanted. Like that's the best way to put that.
I'm sorry, I had to bring that up with the Smash Brothers stuff of people being like, we need to pre-order it with the GameCube pad because that's so we could play it with an actual pad. You can. It's called buy a Pro pad. Yeah. But it's not.
I'd almost rather use the Pro pad.
I will say I do like the GameCube pad. That's not an insult to the GameCube pad. I like that. And I did used to like it, but I'm sorry, the Pro pad's comfortable. There's no argument with why it. I mean, there's no turning around saying it's bad or it doesn't feel right. It's a great pad and it's got great battery life.
Nintendo finally got smart and actually gave us, a modern Pro or a modern controller. Finally, instead of these controllers that have you know, like, we're going to try this layout, we're going to try that layout. No, just give us the layout that everyone else uses because it works.
I would argue the fact they did motion controls and then the other people copied them means that was indeed a modern control pad. Huh?
I meant in terms of like the N64 and the GameCube pad where they tried to do their own layout, and it's like everyone else was like, no, we're just going to use a standard layout. You know, the layout that you standardized with the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I do like the Pro pad. It's like an Xbox pad, which I don't really like those pads, but it's like them, but slightly redesigned in a way that actually feels almost as comfortable, if not as comfortable, as the PlayStation pad.
Yeah, I do like the Pro controller. Now that I have one, it is a really good controller. But yeah, gameplay in general of this game, I do really like. It's Dynasty Warriors. I mean, you know, hack and slash. But it's fun. It's intuitive, as you pointed out earlier in the review. Well, each character is unique. Like you said, there's like a character for everyone.
Yep.
Can
I just also say I do like one other feature of this game?
What's that?
It came out just after we'd finished our of all-time awards. So Anastasia Lazerbeam answered under hack and slash adventure, none. or something wrong. She couldn't answer Hyrule because it wasn't out yet, and that's just wonderful.
Couldn't she have just said Legend of Zelda? Because isn't every Legend of Zelda a hack and slash adventure game?
Nope, it's an action adventure. It's not a hack and slash in the way of like Dynasty Warriors or Lollipop Chainsaw.
Fair enough. How about Devil May Cry?
I haven't played that.
That can be hack and slash.
Yeah, Devil May Cry is hack and slash. But
yeah.
Still, we were just saying that I just said that one as a joke, but B because I know this will probably be her favorite hack and slash of all time.
Right. Oh
yeah,
this is a great game. All time. Yes, I like the gameplay. What do you think, Pew Pew? What do you think of the gameplay?
I think it's really fun, but it's repetitive as fuck, and also it pisses me off that I fucking never use Link, and he is the highest character, and I have to level up all the characters I already do use all the time till he match the one I hardly ever play. So that just really annoyed the shit out of me. That Link, no, he's God modded, he's level 30, even though I never play as him, and all the characters I do use are at like level 23, and I'm like, what? What? I don't even play as Link. How is he this much higher level than everybody else? What the shit?
I will say, yeah, the game is a little repetitive, but to be fair, that's one of the things people look for, and I don't mean any offense by this, that's one of the things, at least it seems to me, that people look for in the Dynasty Warrior games, like when ChrisB's brought them around here, and I've played his like Gundam ones, and when I played Empire 7, I've mentioned I found them a little repetitive, but they're like, yeah, you're supposed to, because doing those battles over and over again is no different or no more repetitive than having a wrestling match every single time in the wrestling game. It's just how those games are built, which works if you're a fan of how they work.
I don't really overly mind it being repetitive. It's just mildly annoying. Like what I said, what does annoy me is that the characters I don't use level up way faster, or like than the characters I do use, which is like, what the hell?
Yep, fair enough.
And I did have an explanation for that actually, which I told Pew Pew. I don't know if she agreed or not, but I will state it here for the benefit of the audience.
And that was after Jim's had sex with her, he goes and plays Hyrule.
Well, that too. Yes, there's that. But no,
Link is bad, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't played Dynasty Warriors, and Richter can tell me if I'm right or wrong with this, but at least in this game, they force you to use certain characters on certain levels. Do they do that in other Dynasty Warriors?
You are right. It depends on the game. Most of them, no, because the way they do the story is usually sometimes it's from a pool of characters, but for the last few they have not necessarily forced it, because it used to be that like you'd pick your character and then you would go through like either their individual storyline or like that kingdom storyline. But as they've kind of gravitated more toward the kingdoms, they'll like give you 3 characters and you pick amongst them.
Right, and that's kind of what they did with this one. But some of the levels they force you to use a certain character, and most of the time when they force you to use a character, it's either going to be Link or Lana, because they're the 2 main characters of the story. And as I pointed out to Pew Pew, that I've noticed In Legend mode, you get way more experience for going through the level than you do in Adventure mode, and I think it's because you have like multiple objectives and it's all story based, so you're getting like story experience bonuses and crap like that. Whereas in Adventure mode, it's just battle after battle after battle, so you don't get as much experience. And because of that, by the end of Legend mode, whether you like Link or not, whether you use him for the other levels or not, he is going to be your highest level character just by how much they force you to use him and the amount of experience it gives you in Legend. Him and Lana are going to be your two highest level characters. You're not getting away from that.
They're not my highest level characters.
Not now.
I still haven't completed story mode. Probably my two highest by a big gap now are Ganondorf and Sheik.
Yeah, but like you and Pew Pew have said, you use your rupees to level up your characters artificially.
I had
Ganondorf starts as level 1, so if you've used your rupees to level him up to your highest level, yes, he's going to, by the end of it, be your highest level character.
I did that, but I ran out of rupees because I want to level up everyone
I
equally.
managed to level him up to like half of the level I did with Link, but I still got him to the same level as Link pretty soon, within like an hour or two of just doing adventure mode.
Fair enough.
But I don't know, that might just be me, I'm not entirely sure, but yay. It is cool that you can level up other characters, although I wish it didn't cost rupees to level them up to other characters. There should be an option where if you purchase it with rupees, it does all the characters. That would make it the easiest.
Yeah.
But should we go on to the next category?
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
I believe the next category is extras. And Pew Pew did the first one when it was Richter, so now Marcus.
Yeah, so
Can hear me do it. No. Can do it. That'd be dickish.
Asshole. But no, adventure mode. There's also DLC stuff. We'll cover that first actually. There is a season pass, and they're planning to come out as I alluded to earlier, in like 4 different DLC packs, 4 or 5 of them. There's not a lot of information on them yet, except for like the titles. There's like the Master Quest pack. I think there's like the Twilight pack and the Ocarina pack and stuff like that.
And if you
and
purchase the season pass,
you get Dark Link costume.
You get Blink.
Yeah, you get Blink.
Yep.
Which
Link?
like I said, for people listening, I don't like the name Dark Link because whenever they add dark to someone in their name, a lot of times sometimes it works, but a lot of times to me it just seems like, oh, we get it, it's evil, so you couldn't come up with a new name for him. Wow, that's lazy, or it's too try hard of, oh, look how dark he is. And I'm like, he's a black version of Link. He's Blink. Black Link.
Yeah. But yeah, as I said, there's not a lot of info on it yet. What info we do have is, I think it's for the Master Quest pack, the weapon you get with that is another Link weapon, and it's Epona, the horse. So yeah, you'll be able to basically use the horse as a weapon, and you'll be able to ride into battle on the horse and run people over. What's that?
Why would you want that?
I don't know, but
I mean, the horses and stuff in the other Dynasty Warriors, at least in Empire 7, I remember that one, you used to summon the mountain and ride through. It wasn't a DLC weapon of a horse. He has the Master Sword. A horse or a Master Sword. One thing is in Tesco burgers and sometimes glue. The other one kills anything. Which weapon do I go with? Sorry, DLC weapon, but to you, I say nay.
Nice.
Thank you for that pun.
Ha.
But yeah, apparently Eiji Aonuma himself has had, he playtested for Epona, because I guess he gave the final go-ahead with it, and he loves using Epona as a weapon. He was like, yeah, fans of Epona, or the games with Epona in them, are going to love using her as a weapon, because it's a lot of fun. I'm like, okay, well, if he likes it, it can't be that bad since he created it.
He works for Nintendo and he wants to get them money. If he comes out and says, you know that DLC pack that's coming out, yeah, it's shit. I mean, oh my god, I played it. They broke the game. It's full of glitches. The weapon doesn't work. Oh my god, it's a waste of money. Avoid it now. That dude's gonna be fired.
Yeah, but I figure if they allowed him,
But he's got
to,
a future in comedy.
Yes, he does.
Well, I was gonna say, I figure if they asked him to play test it first, if it was shit, he would have turned around and said, "Yeah, this is shit. Redesign it." Because I doubt he would let it go to production if it was shit.
Phantom Hourglass says hi.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the pure gameplay itself and the story itself wasn't shit. It was the hourglass mechanic itself, but that's another discussion. But the other pack that we know is coming is the villain pack, which I don't know why this is a DLC, but it's a pack that consists of Sia, the main villain of the game, Volga, who I want to play as the Dragon Knight. He's awesome, and Wizro. I'm assuming it's the Dark Wizro, the one that can like shoot wall masters out of his chest and stuff.
Yep. That's him.
Yeah, so that sounds pretty cool. But again, why is that a DLC? They're in the game. Why?
I would like to
'Cause
play as
money.
Simon. That'd be pretty cool.
Capcom says hi.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what the other stuff is going to be. That's why I haven't purchased the season pass yet, because I want information on the packs that I'm buying. Unlike Pew Pew.
See, I know ChrisB, when he bought it, hates ChrisB again, did but turn around and day one purchased the season pass and got himself Blink.
Oh.
Which he did make a complaint about Blink.
The fact that it's a costume and not a separate character?
Yes, that was exactly what I told you the other day. But yes, you mentioned the fact that it was a costume and it wasn't a separate character. Because, like he said, if Dark Link is with him and he's teaming with Ganondorf, let's say, shouldn't he have a completely different moves and be a different person to Link?
Yes. I don't know about completely different moves, because it's basically supposed to be Link, but in black armor.
It would be
but
cool if he
yes, he should be a
had
different character.
instead of light element, he had dark element, and he would have the same moves, but they would have be evilly looking. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm about. They should be evilly looking one, or maybe they shouldn't. Maybe because he's meant to be a copy of Link, because Link has multiple different swords. Why not mix up the attacks from all three of Link's swords, give them to Blink, and then let Blink basically be slightly more unique, if that makes sense, as a standalone character? I think that'd be cool.
I do also have to say, after something I saw yesterday, why is Dark Link the only playable Dark character? They have Dark models for every character in the game.
Really?
Really?
Well, I assume they do, because the other day I fought Dark Agatha, and I'm like, why is there a Dark Agatha? Wait, if Agatha is dark, it makes no sense that she'd be dark and they wouldn't have dark for anybody else.
Maybe there's
I
a dark
assume
pack.
they have dark.
It's probably
Maybe,
I thought they just
probably
Agatha.
for Link. It's probably the DLC season pass thing. Because A, they want to encourage people to purchase the season pass, and with it being just Link, it's probably because in the story mode, isn't Blink heavily involved in the story mode a little bit, at least in a stage or two? I seem to remember fighting him in
he's
story
the
Oh,
only
mode.
good
dark.
lord, that
He's the only
stage.
dark character that, at least from what I've seen, I haven't beaten the story mode yet, but up to where I'm at, yeah, he's the only dark character that appears in the story. But after, like I said, after I saw Dark Agatha, I'm like, wait, that means they have dark versions of every character probably. Because come on, I can't see them having Dark Agatha and not Dark Zelda or Dark Impa. I mean, come on.
Don't you mean Blavatha?
So would they have light Ganondorf?
That should happen.
Yeah.
Or Dark Ganondorf, just to make you go, wait, what?
And it's just a silhouette with eyes.
Yeah.
Looks like
Which,
the symbiote.
which we're on extras now. I'm gonna say adventure mode's my favorite mode.
Yeah,
I
adventure
love
mode
the
was
fact you have to get the compass, scan the area when you see it, find like a tree with sparkling, set the candle to it to burn it to unlock a secret place that when you go back into the map means that when you get an A ranking you get an award. I'm like, cool, you've incorporated some sort of adventure element from the Legend of Zelda into the just navigating the map. That's kind of cool, and I like the little. And Rick, you've seen like some pictures from Adventure Mode, haven't you?
Yes.
Did you see my Twitter picture from that when I was Sheik?
No.
Each character you play as actually has a little tiny, like 8-bit or 16-bit, however much it is, little like 8-bit version of themselves for the
Nice.
map. Like I was a little 8-bit Sheik.
Yeah, it is
That's
cool.
awesome.
And the map itself is basically the Legend of Zelda map, the original one. Like, if you look at it, it is the map. They basically probably took Nintendo's map because they made one back in the day for, like, Nintendo Fun Club or Nintendo Power or something. They probably literally just took that and scanned it in, and boom, there's your map for adventure mode.
Oh, I've just come up with DLC that they should include.
What's that?
An extra mode.
Okay.
Me mode.
Yes!
But
Woo! I'd be so cool with that.
when you play me mode, that's how they've incorporated Wind Waker, because you get to team up with Chibi Link and be in the cartoony environment that matches your me.
That'd be awesome.
But I don't know if Rick would like that. Me mode.
Depending on how they did it, like if you could pick your weapon, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, you get to pick your you can pick your. I do it, at least I would anyway. Pick your me, and then you get to choose which character to place on top of them, and they get their combos and moveset. Just like that'd be simple. Like I could take my me, take Ganondorf, and go. He's gonna be Ganondorf. Boom! My me gets 2 swords and gets all the Ganondorf combos.
Yeah, basically
That'd
take
be
a
cool.
Mii Fighter from Smash Brothers and put it in this game.
No, because that one only has 3 modes. This one would be every character in the game would be pasted on top.
Yeah, but I meant like how it works. That's basically how Mii Fighter works. You choose your Mii Fighter and you choose a weapon. You choose basically Mega Man / Samus, Link, or
Yeah.
I can't remember the other ones, and then boom, you got your fighter.
Yep, which it does look pretty cool.
But yeah, I like it so far. It's hard. I'll tell you that right now. It is effing hard, especially when you're trying to A rank stuff, and especially if it's for getting like specific weapons for specific characters, because you have to use that character for that one, and you have to use a character to get something for them anyway, like they have a heart piece or whatever. But when you have to A rank to get a weapon, that is effing hard.
I can agree with that.
But it's fun. It's never not
Yeah.
fun.
I do. I like Adventure Mode just because I'm always giggling when I'm seeing that. Which I will say that's something the pad does better than the Pro Pad.
What's that?
Adventure Mode.
Really? I haven't actually looked at the pad for adventure mode.
When you look down at the pad on Adventure Mode, it's zoomed into the area you're in, so you get a better grasp of the squares around you and where your little character is.
Ah.
So it just looks a little bit more pleasing. However, obviously, playing the actual missions, it's better with the Pro. In my opinion, it's better with the Pro, but people may prefer gamepad. But I just love the little screen on the gamepad where it zooms right in on the little character.
Yeah. That's really good. I like when I do adventure mode, I use the gamepad.
Yeah. Although I will say, and they incorporated this pretty well, where some areas are locked off until you get a specific item, and they brought back all the items from, well, not all the items, but most of the items from Legend of Zelda, and incorporated some of the items from like other Legend of Zeldas, and like made 8-bit versions. Like they give you the harp, which is kind of awesome, and like the digging mitts and stuff. But you have to use some of the items like ladder and raft and stuff to access other areas, and they're locked off until such time as you acquire that item and use it. And I got to this one square where if I wanted to go up, it was locked off. So I was like, okay, obviously I have to find a secret passage somewhere. So I zoom in and look at the map, and according to the map, I could just walk up there. There's like nothing blocking my path. I could literally just walk up to the next screen. I'm like, okay, so what do I have to open?
if you haven't got there yet, it's possibly, or it's also possibly because some of the state levels in adventure mode are tied to legendary mode. So, like, if you went to adventure mode from the get-go, like I did, I was limited to like a few little squares until I did more of legend mode, and then it expanded with where I could go. So it might be you have to complete legend mode to open up that little area.
I didn't even think about that. Good point.
You're
Yeah, I'm
welcome.
gonna have to go beat the game. But yeah, I love that mode. Also with extras, there is a free mode where basically you can go back into any level from legend mode and choose any character you want to play as, which is kind of fun.
I haven't actually played that. Do you still get earn rupees and stuff and experience?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you should if it's like all the other ones.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, it's basically you get to play the game with any character. That's all that is.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
to call
It's
it
basically like
I thought
think
I
of it
thought
this way.
as well.
Go ahead. Yeah, think about it this way, Mole. It's basically free play mode from the Lego games.
Yeah, which
it's grind mode. That's the only place it's best for grinding.
yeah, like I said, I understood the concept. I just wasn't sure if you earned rupees and experience because I thought, okay, it's going to be just legendary and what do you call it, adventure mode. I wasn't sure because I haven't played free play. I will say that now. I've not gone back and done free play.
I've done it once just because I was trying to grind out some of the weapons you get have a skill slot taken up by like you have to get like 1,000 kills to unlock that skill or something. So I went and ground out some of those, and like the first level is one of the best levels to grind at for now anyway. So especially with a low level character, so well, my characters are low level, so I went there and ground out. And then they have something called challenge mode, which I haven't yet played. Have either of you played it?
I have not played the challenge mode.
It's going to be like one of the challenge modes in one of the other Dynasty Warrior games.
Fair enough, and I'll let you guys talk about that because I've never played any of the other Dynasty Warriors games.
I've only done like one challenge on that, so I'll let Richter do it. But I kind of think I know the concept, but I don't want to get it wrong, so I'll let Rick say what it usually is. Yeah, at least on one of the Dynasty Warrior ones, I can't remember which one, but when I did challenge mode, it's basically like a free play-ish thing, but it's like extra, like, what do you call it, objectives within each stage. Like, you go challenge mode, and like it's now a challenge of you have to kill 150 people, boom. Or something like that.
Oh, yeah, they had one of those in 8, and it was pretty terrible. But it's like you can only kill people by knocking them off the ledge, or like one was a race. It was like get to the end.
Although I will say, more will totally be streaming 8 soon.
Nice.
I plan to pick up 8 Empires sometime. Because they're doing 8 Empires within the next couple of months, so sometime in the next couple of months, or be between now and like January, I'll pick that up. Hopefully Richter ends up getting that when he gets his PS4, because I really want to play that with Rick.
Yeah, but eventually we'll end up playing challenge mode at least once just to see it. At least I know I will, but you know, hey, it's another mode. It extends the gameplay, and if there's people that like the challenge mode, then you know, and they like Legend of Zelda, then they'll like this, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's in previous Dynasty Warriors, so I'm all for that.
And as is a staple with these reviews, I'm just going to mention a slight in-joke that no one listening would actually get. I'm going to say, Rick, you need to get that on the PS4, because if you don't, I'd have no one to play with.
Also, with extras, they also do have a gallery, an image gallery of the different characters, and you unlock those by playing through adventure mode, except for Link, which you start with.
Oh, that's a point. Can I talk about one of the ones that pissed me off?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You've unlocked history.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that got on my tit. That got on my tit as much as every single time Richter decides to just start speaking in show tunes. Yeah, you know.
Did that get on your tit as much as, hey, listen?
Or Thursdays. No, I'm kidding. No, but it just annoyed me of what it was. It said you unlocked historical biographies or something along those lines of this from doing some stuff in Legendary mode. And I'm like, cool. And I'm searching all over the place. I can't find them. I looked online what they were, and then I looked back in the game and found out it was the case. Yeah, they're just slight little texts that come up during the loading screen. And I'm like, wow, thanks. You basically told me I've unlocked something I don't read. Thank you. I was
Yeah.
I was hoping, and I think they should have done this, because Hyrule Warriors, in my opinion, appeals to a different demographic to just Legend of Zelda fans. Because I know some people who were planning to pick that game up, like myself, who weren't massive Legend of Zelda fans. It'd be cool to see the biography of all these characters and see
Yeah.
what's happened or what's happened within this world. So you got more sense of the story from before there, of like, okay, at what point during Ocarina time did they grab these people, or point at this? It'd just be
Yeah.
fun.
I can agree with that.
But shall we go final verdict?
All right.
Yeah, was there any other extras that I forgot? I was trying to remember all of them. That's quite a bit of extras.
You could say that the extras would be like, I don't know, like all the unlockable characters, like even the ones you haven't gotten yet, like Agatha or who else, like.
I suppose. Oh, one other thing we could talk about, and I know Mole will want to talk about some of these weapons, since most of the weapons, you have to go through adventure mode to unlock. So technically, they could be considered extras.
Yeah, and I will say with characters who you're talking about, Pew, wasn't what's her face, Roto or Rota, whatever she was called.
Ruto, yeah.
Ruto.
Ruto. Yeah, well, wasn't she basically one of the ones you had to get in adventure mode?
Yep.
Yeah, Ruto,
I think
Girahim,
Which is
Agatha,
awesome.
and I can't remember the fourth one. But there was 4 characters you can unlock through adventure mode.
Blanendorf.
Blanendorf.
I thought he said Lanendorf, and I was like, did you just combine Lana and Ganondorf?
No,
I
they
combined
combined Ganondorf with Lando Calrissian.
Ice cold, ice cold 45.
Wow, and I didn't think Ganondorf could get more black. But I was wrong.
Ooh, racist.
Yeah.
We here at the X-Pad do not condone the racist, hate-filled speech of Marcus Shadow.
Yeah, leave that to racist, John.
Yeah. Or any reviewer Q, Jane. No. But yeah, it was a case of, what were you saying, Mick? Because I think I may have cut you off a little bit when I mentioned Rota.
Oh, no, I said Ruto. I was just,
Oh, that's yeah. One of the
I
weapons.
barely know who she is, so.
Yeah, one of the weapons. You get the chain jump.
Yep. That's Link's gauntlets. He gets the silver gauntlets with the. I don't know why this weapon is so popular in Japan. What the hell, Japan? But you get that damned ball and chain from Twilight Princess, which I absolutely hate that weapon. Oh my god, that weapon is so stupid. And it's so popular. It's showing up in like everything with Link since that game, and I'm like, why? But I will admit, chain chomp does sound cool.
It's
Yeah.
probably because, at least in my eyes, that seems like a cool ass over the top weapon. And I don't mean insulting with this. One of the things the Japanese normally do with stuff is they always like the stuff that's over the top, because that's kind of cool to them, which I understand, and it totally works. So it's like a big fucking ball that he holds in one hand that looks heavy as fuck, and then just goes vroom, throws in, like whips it around and shit in a ridiculous manner. It's kind of cool. I think that may be its appeal. I think, but I don't want to say for sure in case that appears racism.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
But I'm not sure if that made sense what I said either.
But yeah, I do like that you get different variations on weapon. Like with Link's sword, his tier 2 sword is the white sword, and if when you unlock his tier 3, it's the magic sword. So it's literally you get like the 3 swords from the classic Legend of Zelda, which I thought was kind of cool. And because he's sword and shield, every time you get a different variation on the sword, it changes your shield too.
I would make a joke of, wouldn't his classic sword and shield just be the one called 8-bit?
There is that.
Yeah.
I wish they'd have done that different. I don't like the 8-bit sword and shield. It's the second most powerful weapon in the game, I think. But they made it too big, too fat. It just looks wrong in his hands.
It's meant to look wrong because it's out of place in the 3D ones because it's 8-bit, and it's wonderful. It looks amazing. I've got a picture of it on my Twitter, Rick. If you haven't seen it, I can show it you later if you want.
Okay.
Or he can wait till Friday. But
Friday,
I don't know. It's just
Friday,
it's too
Friday.
wide. The sword is just too wide. It looks like It doesn't look 8-bit. It looks like he created a sword out of cardboard and didn't know how to cut it properly. That's how wide it is. It looks like Link gave it to Navi and said, "Cut me a sword," and that's what she gave him. It looks terrible. I'm like, oh. If it had actually was like a regular
proxy.
sword size, but 8-bit, I think it would have looked cool, and it still would have looked out of place because 8-bit, but it would have looked better.
It would have. But yeah, there was a lot of extras. But moving on to final verdict.
Yeah.
Just because I noticed, I'm not sure how long this review is, but I didn't want it to be too long. But final verdict.
She started off this thing.
So it's me?
Yeah.
Okay, final verdict. What?
Oh, I was gonna say I thought Pew Pew would go first since she's the host, but okay.
But Mole's the only one that hasn't gone first yet.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, final verdict. I'm going to say it annoyed the crap out of me that there's no online, because that was the one thing I was looking forward to with this, is playing with Richter or ChrisB or Pew Pew or, I don't know, Marcus. No, I'm kidding with that, Marcus. I'm kidding. That was a big move.
Yes,
I would never play with you. No, I'm kidding. I would play this with you because that'd be fun as hell. But it was a case of I wanted to play the online with those people because while I may not be a massive Legend of Zelda fan, I kind of like the Dynasty Warriors, but I like the multiplayer. It's fun, so let me play with my friends. That was kind of annoying that it wasn't even there.
Yeah.
The laziness of some of the cutscenes of just a picture with text, similar to the Power Rangers Samurai game on Wii. I think
honestly they did that to try to make it more Legend of Zelda because that's how the Legend of Zelda games do it. So that's probably what they were doing with that.
In at least the recent Legend of Zelda games, there's always been massive cutscenes as the staple. I don't remember any of them with just a picture. So it's like that just felt weird to me, and it felt lazy.
True.
But I like the gameplay, and there's a lot of appeal here, and there seems to be a lot of fan service of people who like it. So, as you may have been aware if you heard our other review, I like to rate stuff slightly differently nowadays because I don't like doing the numbers now. So it's buy, rent, and avoid. I'm gonna say rent this if you haven't played Dynasty Warriors and you're not too big into Legend of Zelda, just to try it. But if you do like Dynasty Warriors or you do like Legend of Zelda, it's a definite buy. And avoid this if, I don't know, you don't own a Wii U.
There you go.
No. If you don't, go buy this anyway.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about Richter. If you don't own a Wii U, go to Marcus Shadow's house.
Well, I have that component. I don't have the other. I don't have the game component.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't have a Wii U, buy this game and mail it to me, and I will enjoy it for you.
I'll mail him a system. Oh no, you have the Wii U.
Yeah, I have the Wii U.
I keep forgetting about that. Sorry. Yeah, you have the Wii U. So send Richter.
You're not validating my system.
I forgot you had a Wii U because we never play Wii U games together anymore.
You know, that's hilarious, Mole, because earlier in this review, you said he had a Wii U.
Fair enough. I just forgot because
I think it came with Monster Hunter, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's his Monster Hunter machine."
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I like the.
It plays other stuff.
Yeah, like I said, rent this if you're not entirely sure, but it's a permanent buy for me. So over to Pew.
Alright, so pretty much I love the shit out of this just because I'm like a ginormous Legend of Zelda fan, although even though I could admit that like some stuff was kind of shitty on it and was left for the next game, let's say, give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, if you're a Zelda fan, you want to pick this up like cake, you know? And not like the cake, but so if you're a Dynasty Warriors fan, you might also like this, although probably not as much, but you'll understand the play style. So I'd also recommend if you're gonna play this, you should also pick up a Dynasty Warriors game too, just to like know what you're doing. And also you like the Dynasty Warriors game too, so if you like this. So yeah.
Fair enough.
I totally give this like a 7 out of 10.
You
What?
can't give it a 7 out of 10. According to the internet, 7 out of 10 is the same as a 1.
A 1 for what?
She gave it a
1 out of-
1? Kick her
Yeah.
out.
No,
I didn't give it a 1. I gave it a 7. That's like a C.
no, Pew. I was making a joke because if, like we've mentioned in XGR before now, when a game gets a 7 or an 8 out of 10, how much do people rage as if that's the worst score imaginable? And reviewers seem to do that too. Like a load of reviewers on like IGN, yeah, but yeah, a load of reviewers on like IGN and places like that. They'll for a really bad game, they'll give it a 5 or a 6, and I'm like, dude, there's lower numbers. At this point,
Yeah, like-
if 5 or 6 is your worst, you're gonna give a game. Just do it out of 5.
Yeah, like you realize I said 1 like out of 10, right? They're like it's a full range of numbers. You have the numbers 1 to 10, as
But
in 1 out of.
I'd say 7 out of 10 was a good number, and I understood your reasoning for it, Pew Pew.
Yeah, because like I would when I go for the score of 1 to 10, I can usually equate it to like A plus, B, C. You know, when I was in college, I can equate it to that. So like I'd say this game's like a C plus. It has its pluses, but it's nowhere near like polished for the time they had on it, and because they forgot things, and it definitely warrants a sequel because it was playable enough, and they definitely have stuff to make up.
Fair enough. So who are you going to pass the baton on to?
Who's left? Richter, right?
Yeah, Richter's the only one left.
I validated him.
You did. And undervalidated Marcus at the same time. I approve.
Yes.
Fuck you.
She brought balance to the force.
She did. Pew Pew is our last hope.
Oh God.
No, there is another.
But he's not paying attention.
That'd be amazing if that's when ChrisB came back. No, there is another, and the game comes back into
That
the
would
review.
that'd be amazing.
That would be pretty funny.
But over to Rick.
Okay. Granted, I had the least amount of playtime of everyone here, but I really like the game. I definitely want to get it. If you are a fan of the Dynasty Warriors games, I would easily recommend picking this up, just because it's
Richter.
very for Richter. Yeah, that too. Pick up 2 copies and mail me one. But just because it has a lot of familiar elements, but it still adds something new to it, like with the different weapons and there's some characters like I said with Zelda where she had the little arrows of light and stuff. It adds some new stuff in with the adventure mode and whatnot. So I think it's very much worth picking up if you're a fan of the Dynasty Warriors games or Samurai Warriors. I would easily recommend it.
And the Legend of
I'm
Zelda
not so-
sub-item system.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. It seems like if you're a fan of Zelda, it's definitely one you should get. I haven't really gotten into any past Link to the Past, so sorry
I'll
about
just warn
that.
you that, like, if you're a Legend of Zelda fan, like, I actually watched someone, like, let's play this, and this is, like, no joke. Like, they said, whoa, what the hell? Like, Link is totally powerful. I see that he killed this enemy in 1 shot. Link is OP. And they never play Dynasty Warriors, and they literally only played maybe
but-
1 Legend of Zelda,
Yeah, but
and it wasn't fake.
those people are idiots because since the game got announced, they announced it when they first got announced. It was in a Nintendo Direct, and they mentioned from the people who gave you Dynasty Warriors comes a new take on the Legend of Zelda franchise, and they show it you, and they showed you, and they made damn sure they even didn't name it Legend of Zelda, they named it Hyrule Warriors, so it differentiated. People buying Hyrule Warriors and expecting Legend of Zelda are complete idiots.
Like I said, they are idiots. But, like, a lot of people, like, do that, I'm guessing, because I've heard that from 2 other people. And I'm like, really? You didn't know at all? You want to know why it wasn't called Legend of Zelda?
I'm just going to say right now, if you're one of those types of people, and you thought Hyrule Warriors were going to be exactly like The Legend of Zelda because you're too dumb to do research, turn off our reviews, you don't deserve nice things.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm just wording that for people, you know?
Yeah, and
It's
send
just
your
a fair
copy.
warning for everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think that on a slightly different thing, that what I know of Legend of Zelda, I think it translated really well to Hyrule Warriors. So it doesn't, like, Lana aside, the game, it feels like a Dynasty Warriors game, but it doesn't feel weird. It's like, I know that they said something about a Mario one, so I'm not trying to crush that, but I would think they would have to do more work to have Mario fit in that world, because he doesn't have weapons, so I think that it'd be a little bit stranger, where Zelda, I think it fit very well.
I'm going to say, in a world where a man can dress in a tanuki suit and whip his tail around to kill enemies all around him is no way less strange than a man that straps a canoe to his arm to take on enemies.
What canoe? You mean the arm blade?
I wanted to see the master canoe. That would have been amazing.
The Hylian canoe, and it's just got the crest on the bottom.
Yeah.
I thought you said Wind Waker wouldn't work in this game. That'd be kind of awesome. He straps the King of the Red Lions to his arm.
Yes. I agree.
And it starts talking.
And Ganondorf should have had the arm.
My finish.
Ganondorf has...
Here you go, Mole. Imagine this. Toon Link straps the King of Red Lions to his left arm, and he uses it like Connor uses the Tyranno staff in Power Rangers Dino Thunder.
That'd be cool.
Where the King of the Red Lions eats the enemies.
And like I said, how awesome would it be if Ganondorf had the arm cannon?
Arm cannon of darkness.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'd be okay with that.
That's for Mega Man Warriors.
Nice.
See, that's another franchise that I think would translate well to a maybe more futuristic version of Dynasty Warriors. I don't know if they'd have enough characters for that unless you well, you could, because you could have like the Robot Masters as playable characters.
Yeah.
But I think that would translate well.
That would still be like farther down on my list. It's not my number one that I'd want as a Warriors game.
No, but can you imagine playing as Zero in a
That would
Warriors
be
game?
amazing.
They should do a Sonic the Hedgehog one as a sequel to Sonic and the Black Knight.
Sonic Warriors.
I'm kidding, because I may be one of the only people here that A, played that, and B, didn't actually hate that game. It wasn't as bad as other Sonic games at the time, because that was at the time before they gave us colours when everything turned around. It was a case of there were pretty bad ones, and that one was fun to play, so I was like, yeah, okay, that's kind of cool. And Amy and Sonic were together in a game. And chili dogs.
All right.
But,
Victor, your rating.
So,
yeah, Richter's rating.
Um,
What does Rick do?
well, as I said, if you're a fan of Dynasty Warriors, buy it. I would say definitely pick that up. It's worth playing. Or if you're a fan of Legend of Zelda, I think you'd like it. But I know that a lot of fans played much more games than I have because they played the 3D ones, and so I would say that at least if you're a Legend of Zelda fan, you should try the game. But as I don't know how you wouldn't know this at this point, but know that it's not actually a Legend of Zelda game. But if you're a fan of it, I think you would still enjoy it. But you should at least try it. Where if you're a fan of Dynasty Warriors, I would say go buy it.
I've been calling it a Dynasty Warriors game with a Zelda skin.
Yeah, it is, and that works. That's what I like about Dynasty Warriors games is you could reskin it and it'd be like the same and it'd be really fun, I think.
Nice.
This is true.
So Marcus, take it away.
Yeah, I kind of
I wasn't sure if Rick was going. I thought Rick was going to give it a number.
No, I
he's
don't
got my
like
route.
numbers.
Yeah, you got my route. High five, Rick.
Okay. Well, I'll be honest, I never liked the numbers. I just kind of did it because that was the format. So without it, it's like, yay!
Yeah, I didn't really like the numbers too much, but I was like, we have to do them.
Yeah. Well, I know that a lot of people do like numbers, but I think they fixate too much on them. But that's a different discussion for a different time.
Next week on XGR.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with everyone here. It is a really good game. It's fun. It's responsive. The engine is awesome, but then after how many iterations of Warriors, I would expect them to almost perfect it by this point.
A grand total of 8. I'm kidding, 'cause I know there was other ones besides Dynasty Warriors. I just happened to know that was still on 8.
Final Fantasy had more, and they haven't perfected theirs yet, so...
But that's because they keep changing their engine.
Yeah, Final Fantasy
But,
changes it more than.
That's because Final Fantasy got shit after 6. It got too easy after 6, in my opinion. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I haven't really played any of the Warriors games. I do have Kamen Rider Batride War, though, which is a Warrior style.
Fairly similar, yeah.
Yeah, that game's awesome. But it's pretty much the only. And I've probably played one or two of the Gundam ones at your house, Richter, when I came over.
Those are
back
good.
in the day. Yeah, those were awesome. I know I at least saw you play them, so I'm kind of familiar with at least how it works and what it looks like. But, it seemed like my kind of game, walking around slashing shit. So I'm like, okay, cool. But I am a huge Legend of Zelda fan. Like I said, I've played and owned pretty much all of them, with the exception of, I think, Spirit Tracks is the only one I don't have.
Oh, I just thought of another hack and slash
Actually,
game I could
before
use.
CDI.
And the CDI ones, yeah. Good point.
I just thought of another hack and slash game I could have used
Link's
for my
crossbow
list.
training.
Yeah, I don't have that.
What about No More Heroes? That's hack and slash, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Kind of,
Yeah, I
yeah.
could have used that. I played that game.
Yeah.
But,
Thank you,
yeah, as a
Captain
Legend of Zelda fan, it did translate very well. If you're a Legend of Zelda fan, I would say buy this game unless you absolutely hate the characters they used. Then, yeah, stay away from the game because you probably won't like it since you're gonna have to use them. Aside from the primary ones, Link, Zelda. I mean, if you hate Link, Zelda, and Impa, you're probably not gonna enjoy this game. If you hate all three of them,
I like Zelda. The little guy with the green hat, he's awesome.
Oh my god, shut up. I will castrate you.
Yeah. Yeah, the four characters that use the most: Link, Zelda, Impa, and Sheik. If you don't like any of them, yeah, stay the fuck away from this game.
Wait, if you don't like any of them, why the hell are you playing Legend of Zelda? Who do you like?
Yeah, exactly, but still, you never know. I mean, people.
I play it for
like
the tinkle. Yeah.
But yeah, for the secondary characters, if you don't like any of the secondary characters, then you might not want to play this. If playing as a character created only for this game that doesn't really fit within this world annoys the crap out of you, don't play this game. Because you will be forced to use her, and she is annoying as all hell. But aside from that, if you're a Legend of Zelda fan, I would give this game a try because it does faithfully represent Legend of Zelda, and it does translate very well. And they have a lot of, a lot of in stuff in terms of weapons, in terms of what shows up during, different stages and whatnot. So it's kind of cool. And a lot of the Zelda mechanics are there, like with the sub weapons, because you get like bombs and like your bow and arrow and stuff. So you use like bombs to blow up rocks and blow open holes in walls. Use arrows to take out Deku Babas. You use the hook shot on enemies you would think you would use the hook shot on because they have some of the Skyward Sword enemies like the Aralfa, so you can hook shot their shield and drag them to the ground. It's kind of cool. So if you're familiar with the Zelda mechanics of fighting monsters, going into this game, you'll know how to fight some of the enemies because they take some of those fighting mechanics and like weaknesses and stuff and actually use them for those enemies in the game, which I thought was kind of neat. So yeah, if you like Legend of Zelda, I would at least give it a shot. If not, go right on by it. If you're a Dynasty Warriors fan, I don't know why you don't have this game because it's another Warriors game, and you probably have every other Warriors game at this point.
Because the Wii U is not a next-gen system, noob. Because it doesn't look exactly like the PS4 and the Xbox One. Troll away!
Yeah.
Okay, they never end their sentences with troll away whenever they do that. I love the Wii U.
Wii U's awesome. Yeah, obviously, if you don't like the Wii U or you don't have one, obviously there's no point to you buying this game because there's no way you can play it.
Yeah, I love the Wii U. I just wish third-party developers also loved the Wii.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll include multiplayer or online multiplayer with the next iteration of the game. But yeah, I would say this is definitely a buy for me. I would say buy the game. You won't be disappointed unless you absolutely hate this kind of game or you hate Legend of Zelda. There's no way you're not gonna like this game.
Fair enough.
I do recommend though, if you get this game and you don't have any, make a friend. You'll thank me later. You want to play this with a friend. It is a blast to play this with a friend. So don't be like Stacy. Go make a friend.
Ugh.
She has a friend. She made him too, Frankenstein.
Touche.
Fuck you.
I had your back. Hermit girl.
Okay, I will admit I'm a hermit, but like, I have friends.
I am Hermit the Frog.
Oh fuck
Good
you.
friends.
Okay, I'm not gonna start calling you Hermit the Frog. And she does have friends. She has Jim.
Yes, but I was gonna say
It's not
you-
easy
you have
being
friends.
green.
I was gonna say you have friends, right, Stacey? So which one of the 5 of us here actually hasn't played multiplayer?
Oh fuck you. I hate you.
Who's the 5th person?
Is it 1, 2? Oh, I guess there's only 4. Okay, of the 4 of us. Sorry, I was counting ChrisB, I suppose.
He has a big enough ego. He's counted himself twice.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I miscounted. I apologize.
It's cool. But what's your rating for the game?
Bye.
Cool. Fair enough.
Bye.
Okay.
Now, if I had to give it a number, I'd probably give it an 8. It's a really good game.
Ah, cool. Because I wasn't sure how you were rating things now, but that's cool. Okay. Did you want to take us out, Pew Pew?
Alright. Well, thank you guys for joining me for the Legend of Zelda, not Legend of Zelda, God, Hyrule Warriors review. Joining me was Chriz. Oh, fuck you. Joining me was Chriz, aka the Mole, Richter Hammer, Marcus Shadow, and me, Anastasia Lazerbeam.
Fuck you.
Oh my god. Alright, I guess we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours for Around the Pound, so join us then.
Yep.